Hello and welcome back to Tip TV Finance with me, Matt Brown, and I'm joined today by the Chairman of Obtala Limited, Miles Pelham, who, this is your second visit in this week.
Yeah.
At the start of the week you came in and we had a great discussion about Obtala in the future and lots going on. Since then, we've had a big announcement on Wednesday, new investor coming into the company. Just talk us through your great announcement.
Sure. Well, this was actually on Monday. We've got a research report out on Wednesday, so it's been a very, very eventful week. The announcement on Monday was of a $5 million raise at 20 pence. So the stock price then was 17.5, so 13 or 14% premium to market, which I think is quite rare, particularly on AIM. The investor in question is a chap, very high net worth chap from Hong Kong that had missed the preference share raise but still liked the story. Of course, we weren't going to raise money below 20 pence, having raised $20 million at 20 pence via the preference share. So yeah, talks continued. We have found since raising $20 million that we've seen an awful lot of deal flow. Is very complementary. Well, let's say 95% of it is rubbish and not along the lines of where we want to take the business. But 5% of it is complementary. Maybe only 10% of those opportunities would be a good fit. But certainly the extra $5 million will help us expand revenues at a faster pace. And quite encouraging that guys with serious amounts of money to deploy have confidence in the board to increase shareholder value even at these levels.
Fantastic. And so this is a new investor to Obtala?
Yes, completely new.
Fantastic.
Completely new. Got a great war chest himself. A conversation along the lines of, I'll give you $5 million if I like what you do with it, then I'll give you another $5 million. Hence the issuance of the warrants, 18-month warrants at the same price. But of course, if exercised, then the company will receive that money, and I believe we can put it to good use.
Fantastic. And just briefly for new viewers or viewers who aren't aware of Obtala, didn't catch the interview on Monday, just give us a brief overview of the company.
Sure. So the company listed in 2008 on AIM, historically, and used to be called Obtala Resources, historically a mining and exploration company. Around 2011, 2012, branched out into agriculture and forestry, divested the rest of the assets. I took over as chairman exactly 1 year ago, and have divested any other minor businesses that we had to concentrate very specifically on sustainable agriculture and sustainable forestry in Eastern Africa. So our timber assets are in Mozambique, 310,000 hectares of exotic hardwood forestry, so the most expensive woods in the world, and our agriculture is in Tanzania, so 1,700 hectares of arable land. About 200 kilometres due west of Dar es Salaam.
Perfect. And there was a research report on Wednesday, I believe, from VSA Capital, a very positive report, highlighting that the value of your assets potentially could be worth upwards of $100 million. Dollars, I believe, is that, or sterling?
They put a 50% uplift on the current share price, which I believe is the 19p. I haven't seen it this morning, so sorry. So quite a decent overview of the business, 30-page report. This trip to London is the first time that we've actually tried to articulate the new board's strategy to institutional and professional investors. We've spent a lot of time making sure that we do all the detailed analysis. We went through a very, very deep due diligence process with a lot of the preference share investors. There was a data room with over 200-300 documents, many independent reports, commissions, and all this sort of stuff. So this is the point at which we feel that we are investable, seriously investable, for large investors, professional investors, long-term investors, in that we've got a plan, we have the money, we have the markets, and we have a very competent and motivated management to take that forward and reap the benefits.
And with the price around 19p at the moment, you've got a new investor, you've had a great research report come out. Do you feel that the price on the back of that should be higher? And do you feel that the issue of warrants is maybe weighing on the price a little bit? Or is it a case of investors really haven't grasp the positive story that is out there?
I think we're just getting out there in terms of building an audience for the company. Obviously, I myself have invested for 7 years in the company, so that we have a loyal back-end. But is that as diverse as I would like it to be? No. Is it full of professional investors, institutional investors? No. Being a trading background myself, it's odd to see a share price lower than where a Hong Kong tycoon came in and bought 7% of the company. You would expect in efficient markets or markets of old that may have led to a share price higher, but not here to manage the share price. Here to manage, making sure that we get our story across. And the research report was part of that, part of having a third pair of eyes on our business to dig deep, try and uncover anything that people have missed, and making sure that they present that in a very professional and very thorough report. So that's one research report. We should have hopefully another one completed in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and that will form the bedrock, along with some quite extensive corporate IR, that people to make an informed decision about our company.
Super. And just to briefly finish off, things to look forward to in 2017 and 2018 as well.
Sure. Let me just touch on the warrants, because I know that's a very serious point, because we just had a warrant exercise by a company called Weiss, around 5 million warrants, which obviously has weighed on the market a little bit in the last 2 months. I think it's a very pertinent question, actually, and I think that it's who you issue the warrants to. The warrants historically issued by Obtala have been issued as part of a funding. So the company needed money, they enter into whatever sort of funding vehicle it was, and they give the warrants as incentive to these guys as almost part payment. And these warrants, invariably, as soon as they go in the money and this institution is making money, that's their job, they exercise it and they sell the shares. Whereas the warrants, as I mentioned before, to this Hong Kong tycoon are clearly there because he wants the opportunity, having seeded us with $5 million way above market, to also seed us with another $5 million if he feels that we're doing a good job with his money. So that's a much more long-term partner, and I don't see personally, coming from a trading background, why that should weigh on the market. I think that's a good thing if he were to exercise and the company were to get more money. In terms of our plans for the next 12 months, obviously I joined the board, or I've joined as chairman a year ago, so it's kind of cleaning shop, get our strategy right, make sure that we're fully funded. We've now got enough money to really build revenues exponentially, but the business in 2017 is constrained by the processing facilities that we have at the moment. You can't just click your fingers and go immediately to 2,000 hectares under production. So the pack house that we've got can only manage around 100 to 150 hectares, and the sawmill was only producing 10-15 cubic meters per day. So we'll very quickly go to the maximum production in 2017, but we're also building out one of the largest sawmills in sub-Saharan Africa. So it'll be a real monster. And we're benefited by the tailwind of bans on export of logs from Mozambique. So everybody's going to have to process the wood now to get it out of the country. It's estimated that 93% of the wood in Mozambique is harvested illegally. So that's a colossal amount of wood going through a bottleneck of hopefully our sawmill. So that should be quite busy, quite profitable, quite sustainable. And we're building out a very large pack house in modular fashion. So we'll spend about $2 or $3 million on the pack house initially. But as we go up towards the 2,000 hectares, that'll expand to an $8 or $10 million pack house funded by profits from the business. So very busy year in 2017 of building out the production capacity for 2018, and also going from very low levels of production, 1 or 2% in both businesses, up to the maximum we can.
Perfect. So lots to look out for there. Miles Pelham of Obtala Limited, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.